Hey guys, OG Albina here, bringing you guys another Draft League or just competitive Pokemon Twitter discussion. Today I have a pretty funny one. I actually posted this thread a good 3 weeks ago and I'm just now getting around to it. One I can call me my good buddy Kirby. We're just messing around. We were discussing really stupid items or abilities or things like that we could add to competitive Pokemon that wouldn't make any sense but would be funny. And I kind of decided to turn it into a Twitter thread. Now, some of these are those, and you'll see Kurt's first response here is the main one we were laughing about that night. So some of these are going to be ridiculous and stupid, and they're supposed to be. But some of them are actually good ideas of, like, items people want to see. So it's kind of what this thread morphed into. Like, if you could make one item and ability in competitive Pokemon, what would you make it? So yeah, we're going to go over these. And if you guys do enjoy this discussion video, just be sure to drop a like on the video as well as subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and if you subscribe today, it helps us get to that goal that much faster. And yeah, with that being said, let's jump into it. Now, a benefit to me posting this 3 weeks ago is I've seen a couple of these just like liking through the tweets and stuff like that when it happened, but I kind of forgot a lot of them. So it's kind of like we're going in blind, right? Now, like I said, I'll read off the question one more time. Does anyone have any absurd items for Pokemon held items or abilities, whether it be broken ones or funny ones? Me and Kurt came up with a banger item last night in call, but I won't still let him reply. Let me know your absurd made up held items and abilities in the comments. And you can see Kurt is going to be first up here. It's Air Balloon. Big. So it's Big Air Balloon was the name of the item. And it can only be popped by electric attacks. So, I mean, you think of the scenario, right? We're immune to ground, and say we're a ground type, right? And we want to be immune to an opposing ground type. And we rock an air balloon. That's sick because now we're just levitate. It's just basically levitate for ground types in an item, which I think is pretty funny. It would obviously be very stupid, but it's pretty cool. Or like Volt Absorb bonds. Like a Volt Absorb electric type, like a Raichu holding Big Air Balloon, would simply not have weaknesses. He becomes Electros with Lightning Rod. So I thought that was a pretty good one. It was kind of the one that inspired this. And yeah, again, like I said, some of these are going to be like actual ones, and some of them are going to be a little bit different. Okay, next up is J. Ricky with a little bit more of a real one. It's an item that boosts stab with 2 times power. I think that'd be cool. Just like, or even just like adaptability as an item. It'll be pretty sick. Now, the compound ability of that plus Terra might make it a little bit broken, to be completely honest. If we're boosting stabs to the nth degree, then we're tearing into said stab type. We're going to do a lot of damage. Could you imagine, like, Chi-Yu holding this item? Like, you know, having this with, like, you know, Terra Fire plus, you know, boosted Fire Stab plus the Terra. Yeah, it'd be really strong, is what I'm saying. So, it'll be pretty funny. Next up is Lars with this first one saying, how about Reverse Life Orb? You gain 10% HP, but deal 30% less damage. I think I'm going to rock with Leftovers, personally. But Reverse Life Orb is a very funny idea. You get a negative aspect for getting only 10% back, which is pretty funny. Next up, though, again, another Lars one. Item idea, Ability Neutralizer. If flung, it permanently suppresses the opponent's ability. So it's like neutralizing gas as an item, I guess. So I wonder if ability neutralizer means it would like neutralize your ability holding it too, though. So like maybe I wouldn't have my own ability, and that makes it to where there's some pretty broken combinations. Obviously, I can give it to an Archeops, I can give it to a Slacking, something with a bad ability and neutralize my own ability, or I can fling it onto something, which is pretty interesting. Then we also have ability idea, Electriving. Is that a word, Lars? Electriving Strength. If paralyzed, its attacks and special attacks gain 1.2 times power, and it doesn't get the speed drop or get paralyzed. And then we have a Paralysis Orb to go alongside it. I think that'd be cool. We have a Flame Orb. We have a Toxic Orb. I think it'd be pretty cool to get a Paralysis type Orb. Maybe, I was going to say maybe buff Light Ball to do that, but then your Pikachu doesn't have a signature item. So maybe it does need like its own signature item, I guess. But it'd be weird to have Light Ball and a Paralysis Orb, but I'll be here for it. Next up, we live with Item G-Max Ball can only be held by G-Max Pokemon. Makes them not broken and Spingles, I pinky swear. Ability Time Traveler. Every time you send this out, you lose 5 minutes of time in the battle until you hit 0. The G-Max Ball one is a reference for those of you who weren't watching Draft League content in Generation 8 when the main gimmick was Dynamax. Leagues really want to try and make the gimmick work because it makes it more, you know, a lot of people find it more fun when you can use the Generation's gimmick, whether it be Megas, Z-Moves, and now Terrestrialization. But G-Max was absurdly broken in singles, and especially in a counter team, you know, Draft League format. People really wanted to try and make it work, though. So for the first, like, 3 months of Sword and Shield, people would draft G-Max Pokemon, and they would be restricted to holding a Pokeball as their item. And it was really stupid. It was terrible. It was actually the only time I was close to stop playing Draft League was during the G-Max era. So I'm sure that's why Liv put it. And Time Traveler, you lose 5 minutes of your time in the battle until you hit 0. I mean, if you really just don't got the time, you can switch in and out and you'll be good. Imagine if you could do that for the opponent, though. You just timer stall them, but by 5 minutes at a time each. That'd be crazy. But I don't know if that one's going to work out competitively. Next up, we have Trex. That said, a jetpack type item that activates when Trick Room ends/begins. That would be really cool. Like, you set Trick Room with, say, Slowking, or I guess Slowking's not a great example. Let's say my Trick Room setter is going to be Reuniclus, right? Or Cresselia. I set Trick Room, and instead of having to hard switch out or, you know, use some kind of moves that KOs me, in like Lunar Dance or whatever from Cress, immediately when I set it, I get sent into another Pokemon, which is like crazy momentum because it's going to be negative priority, right? The Trick Room. So you're always getting the slow momentum out. Then you get into the Ursaluna. The turn hasn't ended yet. You pop your Flame Orb and you have full turns of Trick Room, 5 nights in Trick Room with your Ursaluna, which is pretty cool. I actually really like that idea. I think that'd be sick, actually. And it only works once, too, so it's not like it'd be, you know, consistently broken. Next up, we have Hawaiian Shaman. He says, I don't know what I name it, but make an Assault Vest for Fizdef that basically applies Torment to your Pokemon. Can't use the move twice in a row. So, like, it's Fizdef AV, so you get, like, the boost in physical defense opposed to special defense from AV, but instead of being locked into only attacking moves, you can't use the same move twice in a row? Like, I mean, I think that's interesting. I think I would personally prefer to just be locked into attacks. I think there just should be a Fizdef AV. I think there definitely just should be. I don't know. I definitely think that there needs to be one, but Torment seems a little bit extra, like, overly convoluted, but who knows? And we have King L5 here saying, I just want Shed Shell to work versus Pursuit. Is that too much to ask for? I mean, if we go back in time to Gen 6 and 7 where the move existed, I think this for sure should have been a thing. Maybe we don't add it now because the move doesn't exist anymore. But while we're at it, we should just bring Pursuit back because it's a good move and it's healthy for the game and it makes Ghost types less broken. Nobody would be wondering about Dragapult if Pursuit still existed, is all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. I don't know. Next up, we have Corey saying, item where if you get fully paired, it gives you a boost. So, like, say I get paralyzed by a Togekiss and I get full paired, do I get like a +1 in a stat? That's pretty interesting. I just don't know what you would give the boost to. Maybe special defense, because a lot of electric types are typically throwing out special attacks. Maybe an attack boost. Maybe a speed boost, which would be hella funny. You eventually would offset your pair after 2 pairs, full pairs. I don't know if it would be necessarily good, but it'd be interesting. Then we have Zeke here saying speed-based Life Orb could repurpose Adrenal Orb. I actually really like this idea. This is super cool, because it's not the speed buff of a Scarf, but you're not locked in. But at the same time, you're taking constant chip every turn. Having like a speed boosting item that doesn't lock you in is a really, really interesting idea, because I think it makes some Pokemon super over the top crazy. Like a lot of those like slower mid-tier speed mons with like crazy breaking capabilities, become immensely more threatening when they're actually able to outspeed and kill things. If we give the same boost for Life Orb on top of speed, we're going to outspeed most things. Maybe not everything we will with the Scarf. We're going to outspeed most things on the opposing side, but we're also taking 10% each turn. It could be pretty cool. I don't know. I think that's definitely really cool. Next up, we have Jaber saying, make headphones soundproof or 50% reduction of sound. I think that'd actually be cool. Soundproof as like an item. I'm definitely here for it, and it could really help out in niche matchups, especially in like a draft league setting. Say like my ground type, I don't like appreciate, or my steel type, I don't appreciate Toxtricity. I could run like a headphones steel type, or I could run a headphones ground type so I can't even get volted on, and I switch it in forever, don't have to take a boom burst or anything like that. That could definitely be really cool. Next up, we have Onker here saying Trace Herb. Upon switching in, this item will be consumed. Trace your opponent's ability while still retaining your original ability. Allows you to have 2 abilities at once. Okay. I don't know about that. That seems a little too broken. I think like maybe having Trace Herb just copy the opponent's ability in general and replace your own. That could be a really cool tech. I don't know. I do not know about having 2 abilities at once on any Pokemon at any given time, because then you switch out and that seems a little broken. I won't lie to you, because there's some really fucky things you can do. Some like really fucky things you can do. Okay, next up we have Soul here saying Jack of all trades. Attacks gain a 25% boost, no longer gains stab. That could be really cool. On like a mon with crazy coverage, like some kind of like Mew type mon. Now obviously Mew wouldn't have the ability. Actually no, you could totally give this to Mew as like a hidden ability or something like that in an event. That'd be so sick because it has such crazy coverage and you're typically not even really caring about your psychic stab anyways, and on sets that you need psychic stab on, say you're like a sword power set, you can just rock out with Synchronize still. So I think that could be pretty cool. Cowardice. All switching moves gain +1 priority. This would be super broken. You know who you could give this to? Is Golisopod. This would be crazy. Between first impression and then priority U-turns from that thing, it still kind of like, you know, deals with like the emergency exit. Oh no, I need to get out of here. I'm a coward type Pokemon. This is just better emergency exit. That would be really cool. Tactical retreat. All switching moves double in power. Tactical retreat also. Oh, so this is like buffing. This is buffing momentum moves. This guy must play draft because he really fucks with U-turn and Volt Switch. This makes like potentially U-turn mons crazy strong. Damn. Hunter's Prowess hits opponents before they switch out. Acts like pursuits on all moves but are not boosted. I think that's broken. I think that's objectively a little too much, to be completely honest. Because the competitive Pokemon in general is kind of based on the premise of being able to switch around, at least singles especially. It's kind of based on the premise of being able to switch around to different checks and pivots and things like that. When you take away that ability from people, they lose their, they lose their checks to everything else, which becomes a little broken and not cool. There's nowhere like asset like retention or anything like that that's needed. Yeah, let's look at these real quick. He also posted a picture. I want to move around the crop a little bit. Safety helmet / hard hat. Holder doesn't take recoil damage. That's cool. Rocket is an item. That's sick. Gas mask. Gas / powder immunities. Reflective vest. Draws attack to the holder. One-time use. That's pretty cool. It's like a one-time rage powder in doubles. Now, I'm no doubles guy, but I think that could actually be really cool in doubles, especially for like early term 1 shenanigans. That could be super sick. Late slip. Extends the duration of room moves / effects. We have to be very careful with Trick Room. Trick Room is a very, very powerful ability, and not even most so in singles. I think in singles that item would be okay, and you'd be able to kind of deal with it. It'd still be really strong and make Trick Room very viable in singles. But in doubles, I think that might break the game. Whistle is an ability, I'm assuming, or maybe an item. No, it's probably not an ability. It's probably an item, because it's a physical item. Stops priority attacks in the holder. I'm here for it. Alarm clock. Wakes the Pokemon up at the same time it is put to sleep. So, it's like... But, okay, that's cool, but at the same time, just be Chesto or Lum, right? Those are already items that do that, so that one doesn't make sense. I mean, it's funny. Next, Vivarium, is this... Wait, what is this happening? I don't know. This must be, like, for, like, some kind of fan game, right? Vivarium, is that Vivillon? I'm assuming no. I have no idea. Yeah, I have no fucking clue. Passport. Have a Pokemon hold this item, then do the election. Okay, so it's just like how to get things in game. Okay, that doesn't matter. Super big. Honey, if the holder is hit by attack, it'll have its seed reduced by 1 stage. I'm here for a Honey rework and making that better. And then Battery Pack. The user does not have to recharge after moves like Hyper Beam, Giga Impact, one-time use. That's also really cool. Gives you like a one-time super huge nuke, which is actually super sick. I'm here for it. Alright. Next up, we have Lucas here. He said, oh, that's simple. Mold Breaker is an item. We need that. That's true. We do need that. That would be super sick. Into, like, Sturdy Mons. Into, like, Shedinja Wonder Guard. Into Levitate Mons. That would be so sick. Could you imagine running, like, Sandrush Excadrill with this item? And then they're like, I'm good with my Rotom. No, you're not, buddy. You're getting blown up. That's actually cool. Next up, we have Vivid here saying broke. 2 abilities that summon Gravity and Trick Room for 5 turns. I think in my upcoming Fixing Your Favorites, I have a similar ability, and that should be coming out this week. I actually have it off getting end right now for screens, which is pretty crazy. And then I think the Gravity one wouldn't be that good. It'd be pretty cool, especially if you gave it to a mon that benefited from it. And then the Trick Room one is pretty cool. I'm here for it. I'm here for that one. And then we have Woke, an ability that doubles the effect of any held item. Nope. That's okay. An ability that inflicts lead sheets when hit by a physical attack. That's cool. I'm actually here for that. That's not super broken, because again, it's it's something you can navigate around. An ability that doubles the effect of any held item, whether that be leftovers, whether that be choice band, choice scarf, choice spec. Like, there's some really strong items that are held back by certain things, and they're like different like damage and breakpoints. I think if we double them, they become a little too much. And Special Intimidate, I kind of skipped over that one. We obviously for sure need that. We for sure need that. Next up, we have the Token Minority, saying an item that extends Trick Room from 5 to 8 turns. Also already been sent, but an ability that summons Trick Room / Magic Room / Wonder Room on the Switch. Ooh, that's pretty interesting. Now, we talked about Trick Room literally on the last one, but like, all 3 of them at once would be crazy. Maybe you do one for each, and then some shenanigans could occur with like Magic Room, Wonder Room, and like different held items and things. Again, we have to be careful about Trick Room being extended by 8 turns, because we kind of talked about that before, because it might break doubles, but it'd be pretty cool regardless. Okay, next up we have Zazo here, saying an ability that returns 33% of the damage you were dealt that turn. So it's almost like a counter / mirror coat as an item. That could be super sick, especially for like low HP mons. Like say some kind of setup sweeper gets set up and, you know, they're super boosted up and they OHKO you with an attack, but they're at like, you know, 40%. And they die because, you know, they, retrieve some of that damage and you had like a high HP status. Like that. That could be cool. I'm here for that. There's a lot of really cool items that I feel like Pokemon could have done by now, and they just simply have not done. Revival Gem. If knocked off, revive a fainted Pokemon. So you have to... Okay, I'm confused. Revival Gem. If knocked off, revive a fainted Pokemon. So if, like, I have a Pokemon, say I have a Lucario, and it's holding a Revival Gem. My Chien-Pao has died in the back, and a Weavile's in. Weavile clicks knock off as I switch into my Lucario. Does that mean I can revive my Chien-Pao? Do I have to be knocked off? That's interesting. It's a very convoluted item, so this is probably why they haven't done something like this. But I don't know if that'd be broken, because, I don't know, maybe it'd just make it way scarier to use the move knockoff. It's pretty cheesy. I'm gonna say no. It's pretty cheesy. It is perfect on brand for this video, though, so I'm here for that. Next up, we have Sadawuda saying an item like AV, but instead of making it so that you can't use status moves, it makes it so you can only use status moves. Would be hilarious to trick it onto something and force them to struggle. That would actually be pretty funny. And there maybe is some types of mons that would, like, appreciate that. I can't really think of one that would really love it. Maybe, like, a Grimmsnarl, between, like, Parting Shot screens and, like, some kind of switcheroo. Could be pretty darn cool. It super boosts up your defenses. Very niche item, and it could super be very debilitating for a lot of teams. Like, incredibly. Imagine just not being able to attack anymore. Ever. Like, that's really brutal. So actually, I kind of like this one. I think this one's cool. Next up, we have Onesie Bennett here saying Rocket Boomerang increases the priority of projectile moves by 1, increases their damage by 30%, but the user, or the Pokemon that user switches into, takes 30% of the damage dealt at the end of the turn. Legit feel like this could be pure chaos in the game. That's crazy. So, like, projectile moves. Let's say I use Aura Sphere, Rocket Boomerang. I get +1 priority, and it's increased by 30%. And after my Lucario uses Aura Sphere, that turn I take 30% of the damage dealt at the end of the turn, or if I, like, something gets switched into. That's interesting. I wonder how that would work with Volt Switch, too, because you Volt Switch out, and you get +1 priority on your Volt Switch, but then whatever comes in takes damage. I wonder if it would be type limited based on, like, the type that you took. No, because I think it would work like a counter / a recoil type thing. And that could be really interesting. That could be really interesting, actually. I'm here for it. And it's very chaotic, but it could be pretty funny. Then we have Sandy Cindy's here. Oop, too far. We have Whetstone. I read it as Horstone. Boosts the power and critical chance of cutting moves. Not the same damage as sharpness, like 1.1 times punching glow. That's really cool, actually. I like that, because there's a lot of mons that really have a lot of, like, strong cutting moves that don't have access to sharpness. Maybe something like an Iron Valiant could super make use of this item. Now, you probably would want to just go, like, Banded, Life Orb, or Booster, but, I mean, I'm sure there's other mons that I'm not thinking of that, like, would really benefit from this. Maybe, like, an Absol or something like that. That would be pretty cool. And then we have Clouded Contacts. The Pokemon's attack ignore resistances, but with an added chance to miss. Ooh, so like you give it like Hustle, but then you don't have resists anymore? Ooh, I wonder how that would work with the immunities. I think if it like ignored immunities, then it might be broken. If it ignored resistances, that's a pretty damn cool idea. I like that. Super high risk, but super high reward. That's pretty cool. And next up, we have Beast Neymar here saying, ability, Suction. Name sucks, but I couldn't think of anything else. Upon entry, this one removes all hazards from the field. Ooh, so it's like an instant defog. I would like this because we basically have a Pokemon that guarantees hazards never go away right now, and like a Goldango. And there's so much like anti-hazard removal right now, and there's barely any good removers. I think this would be cool as like a no, hazards are not doing good against my team. So I wonder also though, would you take the hazards before the ability proc, or the ability proc before you touch the field? I think you would take the hazards first, so you might be or like a boots a lot of the time, but that could be pretty cool. And then we have Spencer here saying ability sword nullifies the user's ability but against a sharpness effect. See, another sharpness item, which is cool. I mean, and like it nullifies your own ability, but it gives you sharpness as an ability. So again, maybe Iron Valiant benefits from that, like Psycho Cut type, Sacred Sword type sets could be really cool. Then we have a Scarlet Martyr here saying lab coat. Think heavy duty boots, but for status. So you just can't get status ever. You have, it's like basically like half of Purifying Salt as an item. Obviously, like without the ghost resistance, but like no status ever would be really nuts on some months. It'd be really nuts on some months. Then lastly, we have Not the Zodiac here saying Redirection Mirror. When the holder is hit by a beam/pulse move, this item redirects the move back at the user, dealing damage as if the user was attacking itself with the beam pulse move. Interesting. Okay, so like, if Mega Blastoise comes in and clicks Water Pulse, and you switch into your Redirection Mirror Infernape, they just die. Or they just take a lot of damage, I guess. It would be kind of like the equivalent. That'd be pretty interesting. Again, very convoluted, but I feel like that is exactly the assignment with this video. So there are some pretty funny ones here, obviously. I don't remember if I got any on Discord or not, but yeah, definitely really, really fun one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is there any abilities or items that you would make and want to add to competitive Pokemon, whether they be ridiculous, like doubling the effect of any attack, or like big air balloon, or if there's, you know, anything that you think could be legitimately added to the game, like a physically defensive AV, a special intimidate, something like that. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, drop a like if you enjoyed. What's up if you're new. See you guys in the next one. Later.